Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows around world football this weekend. And there were certainly a few lows at Team Football Daily and a few highs, because obviously we had Zach, Temps and Kieran's house party on the weekend and things got a little bit loose, some would say. We are still recovering, so bear with us if we're a little bit slow. We started with a talking point. You guys didn't vote for it because I was far too hungover to put anything out about polls on Twitter. So we've pre-selected Arsene Wenger. Let's hear what he's got to say about leaving the club.
I believe that this club is respected all over the world, much more than in England. That our fans did not give the image of the unity I want at the club all over the world, and that was hurtful, because I feel the club is respected, and overall the image we gave from our club is not what it is and not what I like.
Yeah, and I think Wenger was well within his rights to come out and say something like this, because a lot of the criticism over the last couple of years about on the pitch performances has manifested into personal abuse.
Yes.
He's had to take a lot of unjust flack, in my opinion, and he's right to start directly answering his critics, because he's been very statesmanlike until now. Anyway, bit of context in terms of how this press junket came about. First time I've used the word junket on Winners and Losers. Bit of a bloody nugget there for you. Arsenal went on to beat West Ham 4-1 in a somewhat unconvincing performance. Obviously a late flurry of goals kind of made it look maybe a little bit more one-sided than it necessarily was. But Arsenal's home record, nevertheless, has been very, very good this season. They've scored 72 goals at the Emirates in 17-18. You right there?
No.
Which is actually their second best tally in the Premier League so far, and of course still a couple of games to add to that. The result also means they've won 6 games in a row at home, scoring 20 goals in the process, so scoring 3+ in each of them. The result on the day, not a huge surprise either, as Wenger loves playing against Moyes. He's beaten 22 times in all competitions, more than any other manager. But this is likely to be the final time the pair face each other in the Premier League, as even Gazidis is already working on the next manager, and it could be a surprise. Kel Surprise, roll VT.
You know, when Arsene was appointed, I don't think he was on many people's radar screens. Now that doesn't mean we have to make another appointment that not everybody is thinking about and talking about, but it does mean we need to be bold in the appointment and get the person we believe is the right person.
I'm not too sure what Gazidis is going on about there. I really don't think they're going to dip into Japan and find another manager, especially given the Sunday Times report that claims Patrick Vieira was personally recommended by Arsene Wenger, and 50% of the board agree with him. The other 50% apparently wants Carlo Ancelotti in charge. So the best of 2 bad options for me if you're an Arsenal fan. But what do you guys at home think? Let us know in the poll who should be the next Arsenal manager. And we sent Olivia Dodd out onto the streets of London to find out the public's opinion on the matter.
Yep, we all know that Arsene Wenger will be leaving in the summer, but we're here to find out who the public thinks should take over as Arsenal manager next season. So who would you want as the next Arsenal manager?
I would want Carlo Ancelotti.
Really? Do you not think that's just going to be more of the same though?
No, I think he has won a Premier League, and I think he's a good shot, and he's the best one that's available at the moment.
Thomas Tuchel.
If he doesn't go to PSG?
Yeah. It's huge shoes to fill, that's the problem. But who are you going to go for?
To be honest, I don't really mind. The only thing is, I think I think Wenger's really, really great. You know, it's brilliant, but he stays too long. And at the moment, anyone else that comes in, regardless of whoever it is, the fact there'll be a change will be for the better.
Well, it's a huge void to fill, isn't it? So Karen Brady, we could need Karen Brady in there.
That's an outside shout.
Do you know what? I'd put money on that one though. It'd be worth it, wouldn't it?
The only person I think worthy of it would be Paul Tisdale, but he's ex-City's manager. He's the longest reigning manager alongside Arsene Wenger, so they both got a very similar career, and he'd be great to slot in there at Arsenal.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of an odd choice.
I'd go with Ancelotti.
Really?
Yeah, just alphabetically. Allardyce, C-A. Why not start with A? Get Sam in. Big Sam will sort them out.
I would say Diego Simeone.
Ooh. Do you think with Simeone though, is that too defensive? Is it too much of a change in style for Arsenal?
That's the thing I like to change in Arsenal.
Yeah.
The defense, it's too bad right now. That's why we are 6th in the league, and not competing.
So I don't know. I think someone just got a different look to it. I don't necessarily think maybe a big manager's always going to be the one that does it.
Vieira or Henry or someone like that. I don't want them just yet. I don't think any of the old Invincibles are ready yet. I'd like them to coach somewhere else first before managing Arsenal.
But maybe if he comes in as assist, and
Vieira?
then, yeah, I think so. And then he goes from there because, you know, I think Zidane's done pretty well, but I mean, if he hadn't, you get slaughtered after the first season. You're out.
What about Arteta? He's learning under Guardiola. Do you think in the long term he could be a good solution?
In the long term, he could be. I don't think so yet, but he's got a good apprenticeship.
Yeah, I think he should be allowed to do it in his own term, which I don't think he was. And I think he still had a couple of years left in him. And not many other people do, but
I really wish he'd have gone sooner, because
Yeah,
just for himself as well, for his legacy, because I think it spoils it a little bit at the end. So it's a bit of bittersweet sort of ending to it. Yeah, I don't know. I just pleased he's gone.
First winner comes from official for Mikel, and he's gone for Chelsea as they overcame their Blues of late to storm into the FA Cup final, defeating Southampton 2-0. And if you'd like to get your submission in next week to feature on the show, get at me on Twitter on Sundays. Same time, most weeks, baby. Joseph, take over.
Yes, obviously setting up a nice little clash. Antonio Conte versus Jose Mourinho in the final as well. Jose and Man United will be our second winners, so a little spoiler there, but bear with us if you want to hear about that. Olivier Giroud opened the scoring, didn't he, in the 46th minute? Actually a brilliant goal. Really nice bit of footwork, looking like a tall Lionel Messi in there, weaving past Southampton players for fun and scoring his 4th goal in his last 13 Chelsea games. He's now actually been involved in 22 goals in his last 26 FA Cup clashes. I think that's the best of any player since January 2012, so he is on form, isn't he? But at the other end for Southampton strikers, not good news. I mean, Giroud had more touches in the Southampton box than Charlie Austin and Shane Long combined. They just cannot find the net, can they? They've got 9 goals in their last 11 games, and 2 of them came against Wigan Athletic. Morata eventually replaced the Frenchman, didn't he? He's been struggling of late, but he scored 2 minutes after coming onto the pitch. A nice goal and another Azpilicueta assist. I'm stumbling all over the place, I feel dreadful, but let's just carry on. Azpilicueta now has 7 assists this season, all 7 have gone to Alvaro Morata. That is a ridiculous stat. The Blues have now won 7 of their last 8 FA Cup semi-finals at Wembley. The only loss was to eventual winners Manchester City back in 2013. Hamill, quickly please take over, because I'm failing and falling and stumbling and bumbling.
Was never in doubt, was it, the result? The Saints marched off. And the game on the 19th of May will be Chelsea's 13th FA Cup final. It's the first time they're featured in consecutive finals since 2009-2010. And shout outs to Mark Hughes, the first manager to get 2 teams eliminated from the FA Cup in one season since Glenn Hoddle, who also did it with Southampton and Spurs.
Spiritual. Feel it, Glenn. Feel it, Glenn.
Rub that horse placenta all over your face, Glenn. They were a point above relegation when he took over, and now the Saints are 4 points adrift with 4 games to go.
Relegated.
And it would be a shame because they've been a good addition to the Premier League since Adkin brought them up, but they've been hopeless this season. Chelsea dominated this game though, like I said, very convincing. 56% possession, 17 shots to 9, 5 on target to Southampton's pretty impressive 3, considering they only had 9 shots. Eden Hazard was absolutely class in this game. 84% pass ac, not the greatest stat to kick that statement off with. 9 dribbles completed, that was the most on the pitch. 5 shots, also the most on the pitch, but only registered 1 on target. And he's not been as decisive at the tail end of this season as he was last season, but we'll forgive him because he got an assist. Lively cameo from Morata as well. Morata has looked like an absolute cart horse at points this season, particularly after that injury. I think that has slowed him down massively, but now he's adjusted to the Premier League. I think he's going to be a big asset moving forward. A touch wood, I do like him. Lively cameo in this game, 10 minutes, 1 goal, only 4 passes, but he had 3 shots.
That's good.
3 shots in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So he's finding decent positions as well, wasn't he? Yeah, I mean, he should just go at all of them with his head.
Scrambling around.
So hopefully he's back to his best after that injury very clearly knocks his confidence. Who will win the FA Cup? Let's do a poll now, apparently. James has dropped his pen.
Man United.
Professionalism. Probably should have done that after the Man United section.
Probably.
So
But we've done it now, so Adam won't put it in anyway. Our first loser was sent in by Jay Straight 23 on Twitter, and he says Juventus Koulibaly.
yeah. And bloody Napoli, straight back in the title race, aren't they? The Partenopi after beating Juventus 1-0 in Turin. Did you see the scenes when the team bus for Napoli left Naples?
Yes,
if
madness.
that's not going to inspire to victory, I don't know what will. Love those fans. Yeah, like I said, or may not have said, got carried away then in moments. They are 1 point behind Juve now. All 22 players as well featuring in the game wearing red paint on their face, as did every other player across Serie A, in order to raise awareness about domestic violence. So, a good cause on display, title race back on. A bloody good weekend in Serie A all around, and this has been the most anticipated game of the Serie A season thus far. And it didn't disappoint, did it, as Koulibaly sealed victory with a last gasp header.
Boom! He's got a breadhead, fat head, old Koulibaly, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, he put it to good use in this game, didn't he? And this continues Napoli's remarkable away record, unbeaten in their last 30 games on the road. The third team in Serie A history to do this.
It's insane.
So, bloody hats off to you, Sarri's men. Before this game, Napoli had played 7 official games at the Juventus Stadium, 6 in Serie A and 1 in the Coppa Italia, losing all of them, scoring 3 goals and conceding 17. So, history was against them.
Finally.
The curse has been broken. Well done, Koulibaly. And it wasn't just a smash and grab either, was it? Sarri ball was in full effect, with the little donkeys averaging 60% possession. Juventus have averaged 55% over the course of the season. So they went there, they imprinted their ethos. They said, not tonight, Juventus.
Not just dominated on the possession, they also dominated on the shot count. What a link that was. They had 12 shots to Juve's 4, and they actually got 4 on target to Juve's 0. Yeah, Juve didn't have a shot on target. That's the first time it's happened since 2011-2012. What the f***? The front two had an utterly miserable day. Dybala and Higuain combined for 1 shot, 1 key pass, 2 dribbles, and just 35 touches of the ball. I mean, Insigne had 82 touches by himself. This is the Juve side as well that just do not lose at home. The Turin side have lost 2 Serie A games this season. That's actually 1 more than in the previous 4 Serie A campaigns. They've lost just 5 times since 2011-12. They are unbelievable at home. It shows how good this result was for Napoli. And like you said, it puts them just 1 point behind the Bianconeri. And Juventus got a tougher run in as well.
Yeah,
they've got to go to Inter Milan, they've got Bologna at home, they've got Roma away, and then they've got Verona at home, whereas Napoli go Fiorentina, Torino, Sampdoria and Crotone. The only thing I will say about Roma is that Roma might well focus on the Champions League game against Liverpool and rest players in that fixture.
Because they are their toughest opposition by far.
They are. This is going to be a tough last 4 weeks of the Serie A season, but who do you think is going to take the title? Is this going to be our 3rd poll of the day? I think it is. Nah, it's not, apparently.
Nah, come on.
It's not. Yeah, we're going to the comments.
It's just silly, isn't it?
In the comments. There's no way Temps does 3 polls.
Our last winners of the day come from @Mr. Marcus GG, and like Joe revealed somewhat unnecessarily earlier, it's Manchester United.
Yeah, we beat Tottenham 2-1, didn't we, to go through to the FA Cup final. It's actually Mourinho's first in 11 years, since 2007, when his side, his Chelsea side, beat a then strong Manchester United team, much better than we are currently. But nevertheless, the result also means that Spurs have lost their last 8 FA Cup semi-finals, a run that stretches back to 1991. It's actually United's 20th FA Cup final, and I'm sure Mourinho will be hoping to maintain his 100% record in finals of English Cup competitions. 4 League Cups, 1 FA Cup. That is outstanding. Pochettino, trophyless yet again this season, but he did say afterwards that we need to understand where we've come from. It's easy to talk about winning trophies, but the most important thing is that we're able to compete. He's probably right. He took over a pretty shambolic Tottenham team, and they are now really, really strong, but not quite strong enough to beat Manchester United in this one. And he dropped another bombshell at the end of the game as well, didn't he? He said Tottenham need time with me or another. Ooh. A lot of people here saying, is this his way of publicly calling out Daniel Levy for not giving him enough backing, or is it just him saying, yeah, I'm off in the summer to a better club? Not too sure. I think it's probably neither. He'll stay and not get the backing. But anyway, do you want to carry on? Because I've been a disgrace in this Winners and Losers.
Yes. Tottenham controlled the early stages though, didn't they? Great first 20 minutes and were rewarded with Dele Alli's 13th goal of the season. Moussa Dembele had you on strings for the first 20. And Tottenham, over the 90, actually outshot you 13-12, but only put 2 on target.
Pot shots.
A lot of them, were from distance. David De Gea barely breaking a sweat on the day, other than Eric Dyer's shot that hit the post as square on as, Pythagoras would allow. 5 of the shots are actually blocked as well, so great rearguard performance from Manchester United. Jones and Smalling both putting their bodies on the line. Alexis Sanchez's equaliser, what a header that was as well, nearly took his bloody pee off.
Hit me in the face, didn't it?
Was his 8th in 8 appearances at Wembley for club and country. I think he scored for Chile 1.
He did.
Way back when. And he also clocked up 2 key passes on the day, 2 tackles, and was awarded man of the match. He was a candidate for sure, but we thought it should have been Ander Herrera, who was absolutely everywhere in this game, including a magnificent last-ditch tackle with his right foot, where he angled it away, which hasn't got any mention post-game that I've watched. Anyway, his figures on the day. He put in a superb defensive performance. 8 tackles and interceptions, 3 clearances, 2 aerial duels, 1 with a 100% success rate, although he did give away 4 fouls.
Yeah.
He loves it, doesn't he?
Proper box-to-box midfielder, Herrera.
He loves a bit of housery. Did you see that one where he grabbed the Dele Alli's boot?
I know.
Who thinks to do that in the moment?
Ander. But there's also, if you watch it, I think just before his goal, I think about 15 seconds before, he's actually heading the ball back to De Gea in his own box. So he's gone up the other end and bang one in. That's a proper box-to-box midfielder.
He's got a great engine, hasn't he? And like I said, the defence were pretty good, weren't they? Limiting Harry Kane to 1 shot on target all game. He only had 4 touches in the final 30 minutes.
Jesus.
I actually think he should have came off. I think he's still injured. I think they've rushed him back somewhat since that injury in March. He only returned on the 1st of April, didn't he? He's played 3 games since then, but something hasn't seemed quite right about him. He was actually averaging 5 shots a game, 5+ shots. It was about 5.5. Until then, and since then he's only had 6 shots over 3 games. 4 of them were against Brighton.
They f***ed the World Cup, great.
So something is wrong. United now only need 7 points from their last 4 games to confirm 2nd place, and I think a lot of Manchester United fans halfway through the season would have probably taken an FA Cup and a 2nd place finish as progress. What about you? No one cares. Next section.
Our final loser of the day was submitted by Archie on Twitter, and he says Swansea, although we're kind of using it to talk about Man City, aren't we?
Don't give away trade secrets. Yes, the Swans got absolutely plucked of their feathers. What? City have now scored 98 league goals, which is around 2.9 goals per game, and have a goal difference of around plus 73, if memory serves me correctly, which is about 30 better than Liverpool, who have been pretty darn good at going forward this season, haven't they? Not all that at the back, but there we go. Only need 6 points to beat Chelsea's record of 09-10, and also look like they're going to beat Chelsea's points record and their wins record too.
Definitely going to.
These stats just serve to remind me how good Chelsea were for like 10 years between 2000 and 2010. City completely dominated this match, 83% possession and 19 shots against 4, with 12 coming on target against 1. This was literally like year 9s versus year 6s on the field on a sunny day, jumpers for goalposts. And it was the most possession in a game since Opta began doing their thing, 942 passes. Bernardo Silva, the star of the show too. What a man to have on rotation. An 84% pass hack. Again, we should stop putting pass hack in the script. It is so boring and not really that helpful. 5 key passes, 4 dribbles, 2 shots on target and a goal. 5 key passes alone.
Insane.
When you consider the creativity in that side, Bernardo Silva created 5 chances by himself. This could have been double digits. City's total of 90 points now is more than 16 of the last 22 Premier League champions.
What a joke. What a joke. They're just so good, aren't they? But as good as they are, Swansea City are diabolical. They're only 4 points off relegation still. So thankfully, they're grateful for Mark Hughes being at Southampton and having an absolute fest there. But City have steamrolled better sides at home, haven't they? I mean, this City side is just glorious to watch at times. So it's no travesty for the Swans, but they did also lose 4-0 to City at home, meaning they've conceded a goal every 20 minutes against Pep Guardiola's boys so far this season. Their run-in is pretty ugly too. Chelsea, Bournemouth, Southampton and Stoke, a couple of absolute must-wins in there, specifically looking at that Southampton game, because their away record since Carvajal took over, not pretty. After he won his first one, they've now gone 7 games without a victory, 4 draws, 3 losses. But were they expecting to beat City away from home? Definitely not. I mean, City have scored 3 goals or more in 19 league games this season. That's 56% of their matches. David Silva, mamma mia, he's now been involved in 20 goals for the first time since 11-12, hasn't he? That's 9 goals, 11 assists. And he also, like the other Silva, had an outstanding game. 127 passes he managed, so not shy of the ball. 94% pass accuracy, 1 shot, 1 goal, 2 tackles, only dispossessed 1 time. What a player. What a season him and KDB have had in the middle of the park. But it's now crunch time for the Swans. They've got to start turning up because the last 4 games are squeaky bum time. So that's the end of winners and losers for this week. Thank God that's over. I'm going to go and have a sleep. What are you doing? Euro Roundup, is it? Who's on that?
Yeah,
Does anyone care?
Working from home, so I've got the Euro Roundup, and we're talking about Don Andres. Andres Iniesta obviously played his last final for the Blaugrana. Very emotional. I think I might cry. So come over if that's your jam, watching middle-aged men. Middle-aged men? I'm not there yet. Men in their mid-20s cry. This is one of the worst endballs.
Wrap it up, for f***ing sake, I want to sleep.
And if you enjoyed that,